All right, hello everyone. It's 6 o'clock, which means it's time for the first Severe Weather Club meeting of the spring 22 semester. How is everyone doing? Good, bad? How was everyone's breaks?
Perfectly tepid.
Perfectly tepid. Yeah, no. Personally, I thought break was way too short. I felt like I blinked and then it was over, and now I'm in the hardest semester yet. I'm in hard meteorology classes, and I'm writing a senior thesis. So pray for me, guys. But yeah. For those of you who aren't in on the plan for this first couple of weeks of club, basically, in accordance with university guidelines, we didn't want to start doing in-person meetings because I know they wanted to make sure that COVID was had a handle on it before, they recommended that. And so for the first 2 weeks of club, this week and next week, we plan on being virtual. And then afterwards, assuming university guidelines say that we're good to go to switch to in person, which I believe they will. All the indications that I've been gotten have said that we have a pretty good handle on that as a university. So once that happens, we will switch to the hybrid meetings that we had last semester, where you can either come to Tillman 307 or you could join this Zoom meeting and attend virtually. That's probably going to start the week after next, and that should be after the university has reassessed all its guidelines. So that's the thoughts on that. These first couple of meetings are probably going to be shorter, mainly because I want to save all the good content for the in-person meetings. But yeah, I guess I'll share my screen here. Can I share my entire screen? Yes, I can. The first thing I want to do is I kind of want to highlight some of the changes that have been made to the Discord since, sorry, Andy, since break. I know Anthony has been working really hard adding these things in particular. We've obviously had conferences for a while, but he's also added job listings, internships, and scholarships to the Discord. In particular, I want you guys to look at internships and scholarships as we go on through the course of the semester. Obviously, Anthony and I, and probably Dr. Finch too, will be posting things in these 3 channels as they come up. But of particular interest to you guys, especially the younger undergrads, I would recommend looking at these internships. Most of the time, we're going to be posting summer internships for meteorology and geography students, and that's going to be of particular interest to you guys because those are a really great way of building your resumes. This one that Anthony has posted here, I'm not too familiar with it. I know that it's through Oklahoma University. Obviously, it's going to be in Norman. It's a research internship, but what's really good about it is that it's over summer. They're going to pay for all your expenses, including giving you a stipend for working there. So you're going to get paid to do this internship. And you get to choose kind of what you do some research in. They have a number of options that you guys get to choose from. So definitely look out for this scholarship or this internship and other internships and scholarships. I don't know if the Hollings internships and stuff that I posted a while ago are still accepting applications, but if they are, I would recommend still looking at those if you haven't already. Yes, these 2, the Hollings and the LaPenta scholarships. Obviously, if there's a pathways opening up, we will let you guys know about those as well. But yeah, those are something you want to keep in mind. But yeah, I kind of wanted to open up this meeting with a little bit of a discussion about the local weather. As you guys know, it's very cold, and that's probably not going to change within the next week or so. However, I do still want to go over it because there are some things that the forecast discussion that the National Weather Service office we're under put out that I think are cool and should be highlighted. One of the things that Dr. Finch, I know, speaks or talks about when she is talking about forecasting process is that she will tell you to start out by looking at the big picture, zooming out, like literally on your map, zooming out and looking at the upper air, because that will give you a sort of basic overview idea of how the air is flowing on a macro scale, and that can kind of give you a sort of approximate idea of what the weather is doing. If you look at the area forecast discussion put out by the DVN office today, they talk about, let's see if I can find it here. They talk about the flow pattern, the upper air flow pattern of the jet stream is going to be shifting within the next week or so. So I kind of want to show you guys this. I wanted to use pivotal weather for this, but I don't know if anyone else has been having this issue, but if I ever look at upper air observations, specifically in pivotal weather, the website crashes. I don't know if anyone else has encountered that, but that's weird. But anyway, I'll use College Duty page for this in the meantime. What you can see right now is 250 millibar wind speed and ISO heights for the continental United States. And you can kind of see the pattern that we're in right now if I come in back here. And what you can definitely see is the kind of trough pattern that we're in. Basically, the entire Midwest is subject to this trough, and in particular, you can see the upper level flow is predominantly from the north and northwest. And so what that's going to do is that's going to shuttle Arctic highs from Canada into our region, and that's actually what we're under right now. Is if we look at surface level pressure here, you can see that we're under the influence of an Arctic high right now. That's going to keep skies clear, and that's going to keep temperatures low because of all the, the frigid air that's being shuttled into our region because of the prevailing winds in the upper atmosphere. You can see they're coming from the north and northwest. However, as we go into early to mid next week, what you will see is a different pattern will start to emerge. As we progress into next week, what you'll see is that the winds actually start shifting. They're no longer from northwest. They're actually going to be coming from south and southwest. This is associated with a shift in the pattern in the upper atmosphere. What we're going to see is that the western United States is going to be covered by a trough, whereas the eastern United States is going to be covered by a ridge. And so, of course, that corresponds to us with southwest winds in the upper atmosphere. In place of the Arctic highs that have been coming from Canada, we're instead going to start seeing some storm systems that bubble up from the south and transfer up into our region. That's also going to be associated with probably slightly warmer temperatures, although not all that much warmer, and also a lot of moisture. And with that becomes, precipitation and snow and rain and sleet and all that winter weather mix that we all love to hate. And so I wouldn't be surprised if starting around the next week or so, we can probably start to see some more active weather, more precipitation, and more winter storms in our region. And so you can definitely see that here. So tomorrow through most of the weekend, it's going to be very cold. It'll be a little bit warmer tomorrow, but then Friday, there's going to be a weak cold front that kind of moves through our system. It's associated with this Alberta clipper that's way up north, but this cold front is going to be coming down here, and it's going to be shuttling some pretty cold air. And so actually, I think I have it here. Yeah, it's going to be pretty cold tomorrow or Friday as well. And then throughout the rest of the weekend, it's going to be pretty cold and mostly clear. However, as we look forward into next week, when that upper air pattern starts to shift, what you will see is we have the development of some storms. And indeed, if we go look here, you can see that a storm develops and then starts traveling through our region. The National Weather Service currently has no idea when or how bad this winter storm will be. With these shifting patterns, the models are not in agreement at all. And so the timing and severity of these storms is not going to be agreed upon at all either. But what's probably going to happen is some sort of winter storm is going to be bubbling up from the Gulf and traveling up northeast along those upper level winds and bringing some rain and snow sometime next week. And so that's the thing you want to look out for.
I have a quick question.
Sure.
How does a winter storm start in the Gulf where there's warm, humid air coming from? That looks so on your camera.
No, you're good. So it's not that the winter storm, it's obviously, when it's down in the warmer areas, it's not going to be wintry mix. However, when these low pressure systems, they start traveling up into the colder regions, they're going to be encountering, colder conditions. And so that will lead to the rain and then sleet and then ice and then eventually snow mix that we find. That just depends on where the temperature is vertically stacked throughout the atmosphere. That's what determines that. That's the big picture overview of the weather. It's going to be pretty boring for the next week or so. Again, it's just going to be really cold and mostly clear. However, again, I would say when we revisit this next week, I bet we will probably start to see some more active weather that we can talk about then. Yeah, that works. All right, so for the rest of this meeting, again, I want to kind of keep it short. I don't want to waste you guys too much time since virtual meetings are kind of not the best. So for the rest of this meeting, I do want to discuss a couple of things that the club will be doing throughout the course of this semester that we haven't been able to do a lot because of COVID, but we want to get back into the groove of them. The first one that I want to discuss is fundraising. Severe Weather Club, usually they had annual fundraisers that we would do. But again, just due to COVID and being virtual and then hybrid, it was just kind of hard to do. But we do want to get back into that now that in-person meetings are more possible. We usually do that in two forms. First of all, we usually do t-shirts every spring semester. Those usually represent a small profit for the club. And then of course, in return, we get cool t-shirts. We'll be talking about those soon. I think probably next week's meeting, assuming Andy is ready. He's been gracious enough to do some designs for us. If he's ready then we'll discuss t-shirts then.
Yeah, I've been working on a design for a club t-shirt. At no point in that discussion did you tell me we would be selling them, so I'll have to do an entirely different design for that. I already have an idea, but yeah, I should have it ready by next week.
Sure, no rush. But if you will be ready by then yeah, we can discuss that in next week meeting as well. That represents one of the fundraisers we do. Usually it's slightly profitable for the club. And yeah, again, we get t-shirts out of it. The other kind of fundraising that we do, we like to, well, in the past, it's kind of varied. Sometimes we used to do like the traditional Yankee Candle fundraisers. In the past, we tried to do an emergency kits fundraiser, which was a really cool idea, but it didn't work out too well. I know I was talking with Jax, and she had a couple of fundraising ideas. And so I wonder if you would be able to talk about a couple of those, Jax.
Okay, bear with me. I'm in a parking lot because I'm waiting for my fries. Hello, people. As far as distance stuff goes, because I've been talking to a couple of other clubs as well, like the zoology club, because one of my sisters is in it, and I told her to do this because they're a bit smaller than us and they don't have like a bank account or anything. So I was like, oh, this will be a good idea for you. But basically, usually what at universities, what clubs will do a lot in the past too is, especially for conferences and stuff, they'll reach out to businesses, and businesses will usually like donate or give money or whatever to student organizations. And usually they'll ask for like, oh, make a social media post about it or whatever online or whatever. And if you go to a conference, they'll be like, oh, like wear for a day like our like shirts with our logo on it or whatever. But I was thinking we could do this because it's a good thing for COVID, so it's distance, and also it's like corporations or whatever like give us money, you know. But I was thinking because I'm sure a lot of places around here would really enjoy working with like donating students, especially if it's the end of the fiscal year and they need to get rid of that money. But like, I feel like they would be a good thing to do, like ask some smaller businesses around here. So like, for example, the square, because I feel like most people, especially if you don't live around here or whatever, or know about the square, like there's so many little like nooks and crannies in the square where places are that I feel like a lot of people don't know about. So I was thinking like, for some of the lesser known places in there, like for example, a lot of people don't know like the crafty coop. It's kind of off to the side, but it's cool. They like make little like ceramic things or whatever, and you get to paint them and it's fun. But like just an example around here of something like a small business we can work with, we just be like, hey, like see if they're interested in that. And then if they are, you know, we can just like give them promotion and it works out because, you know, they're small business and nobody really like knows they're there. Somebody had mentioned the study. There's also for some bigger things, I guess ISS and IMEG. I think Ian had brought those ones up. Andy, did you have something you were going to say?
Yeah, I just wanted to throw out there real quick that I looked at that crafts place, the ceramics, whatever you mentioned, and I talked to the woman inside it. And if you value your health and safety, don't go in that building because she's a staunch anti-vaxxer. So don't even dare.
Never mind. But like that's just an example though of like a small business that like is lesser known. Good to know because I ain't fucking going there then. But yeah, because there's a bunch of places around the square though that are like, you know, lesser known. So yeah, we would just type up an email, or if it's a smaller business, we could just go in there and maybe talk to them and see how they feel, and then like, you know, professionally reach out or something. But that is my idea for that, because that's an easy way to get a lot of money, and also it works with COVID stuff, so you know, people don't have to be out selling. The zoology club has a really bad idea for their stuff. They're doing a bake sale. I'm just like it would be good for normal stuff, but because of COVID and it's cold outside and all that, I'm like, y'all, come on now. So that's why I told them that. Thank you, train. Okay, that's all.
Thank you, Jax. So to be clear, did someone speak up?
I just have one tiny idea. This won't work in winter because it would kill us. But when it gets warm, we could do car washes. I've always enjoyed those. I've done a couple before.
That sounds a little sexually charged. I don't know.
Oh, come on. You're the person who brought that up. I didn't mean wearing scantily clad. Get your mind out of the gutter. Jesus.
Oh my goodness.
I have done car washes fully clothed, okay? It is possible. You brought that up, not me. I didn't.
So to be clear, to summarize Jax's idea, basically she was proposing that we exchange with small businesses donations, small donations to the club in exchange for a social media shout out. I know, Anthony, you have been basically the primary maintainer of our club social medias for a couple of years now. And so obviously we wouldn't want to make our feed entirely, shilling out to small businesses, but I don't think there would be anything wrong with like making an announcement saying, hey, this small business in Macomb was nice enough to support the organization. So in exchange, we can recommend your business there. Obviously, the examples that Jax gave were just that examples. We could discuss further any particular businesses that we would want to shout out. But would that be a form of fundraising that you guys would be okay with? In particular, I think it would be a good idea because it's easy for us. All we would have to do is write some emails and then make Facebook and Twitter posts. And it's pretty distanced. We wouldn't have to worry about COVID with that. So I think that's a good idea. If anyone has any objections to that in particular, please speak up though. Obviously, we don't want to make our social media pages specifically about advertising, but I think it's a good low level intrusive way to advertise ourselves and advertise other businesses in exchange for money.
Also, I will say it's really not that big of a deal for social media stuff because, I come from an area where there's a bunch of big universities around and people do this all the time. I just noticed it's not really a thing out here, but I've been noticing it's because people don't know that opportunity exists. So I think it'll be perfectly fine, especially because I don't know, Anthony, I haven't checked out. I don't got social media really. What's popping on the page? What you doing?
Popping as in like raining or storming or?
What you got going on the page? You posting pictures and stuff?
I tweeted yesterday, if that makes you feel better.
Did you tweet an Anthony pun, a dad joke?
No, I tweeted the wind chill advisory.
Oh, right on.
No, we don't post really anything. We only have like 3 Instagram posts. I created the well, I helped create it, but I didn't create it myself. Facebook's been around for a long time. Huh?
Yeah, we have a fairly active Facebook page, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So just an idea. I think that would be a decent way. Again, if anyone has any problems with that, be sure to speak up. But I think
the only issue I have seen with that is waiting for a response.
For sure.
Well, that's because the good thing about small businesses is because you'll get a response faster than say that if we were to work for Walmart, maybe we'd get more money from something like Walmart, but it's just a longer response time versus small business is more direct.
So are you going to ask them up front how much we're looking for, or are you just going to they give us $20? What happens
whatever
then?
They're willing to offer. Then we can also just we don't have to accept it right away. It's not one thing. We could just check around, have one or 2 or 3 in mind that maybe the club agrees on, and then we can check with them and be like, hey, how much would you be willing to donate? In that way, it's not an automatic have to. Then our social media will be blown up with a bunch of business stuff, which yeah. So
is there a threshold we're looking to reach?
Not that I know of. I'm sure we could talk to Dr. Finch more about that. I haven't checked to see how much money the actual club has, as a total. But again,
it's not 700 something. So.
Yeah, it's not a bad amount, and there's no specific threshold we're trying to reach. Obviously, it's just that we want to have some money in reserves for when we can eventually do things like going on a bowling night or buying pizza for the club. We just want to make sure that there's enough for that. Those costs usually don't cost much over the course of an entire year, so we don't have to raise that much to make sure that we stay in the greens. So I think it doesn't have to be too much. I would say
Also, what do you normally make from fundraisers then?
That's a good question to which I don't have an answer because I haven't actually.
It depends on the year. For the first year or second year, whenever we did the Bucher shirts, we made $300, $400, $500 on that one. And then the previous year, we didn't make a lot but our fundraising idea wasn't very good. It really depends on the idea. I mean, so let's say that this doesn't go, like all the businesses that we offer or ask, let's just say worst case scenario, it falls through. What's the backup plan?
Well, that's the thing.
So-
This doesn't have to be the main thing. It could also just be supplementary, and like we can go ahead with something else too, but it's an idea to get like, it doesn't require us to spend any money. So there's no breaking even. So it's just kind of like, yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, the only reason that I said that is just because if we're going to go another route, we really need to get going with it. Like starting next week is like actually figuring out what to do with, because in the past, what we've done is we sold and we want all of our orders come in either the week, I think it's the week after spring break, because that way everyone can go home and sell to their family during Easter or whatever. And then that's whenever we turned everything back in. We had the whole month of April, and then everything should get to us by the end of the semester. So that's the only reason I said if we have another plan that we would need to actually be able to get rolling with it.
Sure. Well, in that case, if you wanted to discuss a backup plan, I'm sure we could do that in the Discord chat, let's say after club or something like that, where we can try and theorize another method. But of course, we will still have the t-shirts, and we still will probably make a couple hundred from those as well. We usually tend to do a little bit better than break even on those as well. So I think we will be in a good space. And you also have to remember that we haven't spent any money as a club in the past like year and a half, just because of the circumstances. We bought pizza for the first time last semester, and so we're not necessarily hurting for money at all. So it doesn't have to be too crazy this semester. But yeah, the only other thing that I want to discuss for today's meeting is outreach opportunities. In the past, we used to do a lot of outreach, particularly to schools, although not only schools, but that's something that we definitely want to get into as a club as we transition back into in-person. Basically, I want to put out a call to action. Anyone who ever hears of or has an idea for an outreach opportunity for a club, be sure to let us know, because we would definitely be interested in those. I do already have one though. Someone actually reached out to me, and so I'm going to share my screen so you can kind of get some of the details on that. Actually, it looks like I have a couple chat messages first. All right, yep. So I'll share my screen here again. I received an email from someone who's associated with the Monmouth chapter of the Boy Scouts of America. So for those of you who don't know, in the past, Severe Weather Club used to send a couple people, usually 2 or 3 people, up to Monmouth every spring semester, and they would help give a presentation to help give local Boy Scouts some weather merit badges. Usually what that entails is we'll do like a half a day long presentation. We help them learn about the weather, and then they usually have to do some small project, like they build a wind vane or something. And afterwards, they receive their weather merit badges, and we feel good about helping them get their weather merit badges. This is usually a weekend thing. Actually, no. Let's see. Yeah, they have it. The date that they would want us to do it in is Saturday, March 12th, 2022. It is a volunteer thing, but we do get a lunch provided if we do go. I haven't committed to anything right now, because obviously I want to gauge how you guys feel about doing this, but would anyone be willing to give up their Saturday in exchange for
Just to preface, that is the Saturday of spring break, so I will be fully gone.
Oh, okay. That's a good call. I actually didn't realize that. Yes, this is the Saturday of spring break. And so is this the Saturday before or after spring break? I actually don't know.
Before. It's before.
Okay. So yeah, I guess someone speak up. Yep.
I'm just saying, strike me out right now for that, because I'm looking at my email and I have concert tickets for that exact day. And I bought these like 2 weeks ago. They were kind of expensive, and I do not want to bail on that.
That's a really cool opportunity, and I like that. But I guess it wouldn't work out time-wise. Do you get anything from the Girl Scouts? I'd love to do that.
Yeah, like I would love to do it. It sounds fun as hell, but I got prior obligations since I'm taking someone with.
No, that's
Now,
totally fine.
I know in the past when we've done that, we actually were featured in the AMS bulletin, because we are part of the club outreach. We actually were on some AMS front page, for doing that. And last time we were gonna do it was March 2020, but we all know what happened there, so it got canceled.
Right.
But I think even then we had 3 volunteers. I think Dr. Finch was going, and 2 other people were signed up to go. Um, but I mean, I don't think we should definitely get rid of it. I think we should definitely do it. I mean, if it comes down to it, I could probably do it. I'm
I
sure
would
we
go
can
for
get
sure.
Dr. Finch to do it too.
Hmm. And I don't need like exact, oh, I will go versus not go answers right now. I'm just like putting it out there that this is an opportunity that we do have. It's one that we've done before, and it's usually pretty fun. I know that the couple people who I know who have done it before, they said they've had a good time doing it. So I would like to do that as well. So yeah, that's a good opportunity to throw out there. But yeah, just in general, if you guys ever have like hear through the grapevine of an outreach opportunity that we could do, or if you guys have any suggestions, we can do that. Otherwise, what
Girl
we
Scout.
Girl Scouts, we can reach out to Girl Scouts. That's the other thing is I'm sure me and whoever our outreach chair is, I think that is Jax actually. I'm sure we will probably go reach out to like local schools, for example, to try and get ourselves in some classrooms so we can teach kids about the weather as well. That's also something we'd like to do.
I will put a little preface on that because the schools around here I feel like they really don't care about COVID. So that's why I had asked in the chat, and I know you guys all wanted to do that because I was thinking of doing it again. But for the time being, probably not going to recommend that because they're so bad with COVID stuff, and I just feel like it's unsafe for the club as of now until the situation gets better. Because I see those little rats outside playing. Oh my God, no, that's like disease central. So.
And to be fair, it doesn't necessarily have to be an in-person thing. You know, we could do a virtual lecture if they would be down for
That's
that.
the thing. I don't think that would work out for elementary age kids because that was the big thing in COVID. They like it that the retention rate, it just doesn't work out for younger kids online because that's why I feel like a lot of people do demonstrations because you're being active and physical in it, and so just staring at a screen, like unless it's just dance, I don't know. Like maybe for high school students that's a good thing, but for the elementary students, yeah, I don't know. I feel like they're like gonna be all like children have really short attention spans, unless they're physically engaged. So I was thinking like, because I know a lot of people used to do when they were younger, like pen pal things, just to do some like kind of distance things, but still be involved in some community aspects. Like for grade 3 and up, I was thinking we can do like a sort of pen pal thing, a one-time thing, or maybe like something to do throughout the semester that's kind of fun. They can like talk to us and ask us weather questions or just questions about college, probably more for like the higher grade students or even high schoolers. And you know, just to like give them some prompts of maybe stuff that they're interested or what to ask about, like give them an idea of what we do or some cool info that'll spark interest in their little hearts. Maybe some fun weather facts or something. But that is what I got so far for distance stuff. Because I don't know if anybody feels comfortable kind of going to the school stuff and all that, and how they are about bringing people in right now. So I'm not sure.
Right. Regarding schools, the worst we can do is ask, and if they say no, we don't want to do a virtual lecture, then that's totally fine. That's on them. Yeah, I think definitely what we will do is we will reach out to some schools and ask questions about, hey, could we do some outreach in this form? If not, would this form work? So yeah,
I think
think
the
that
online form is definitely going to be best for high schoolers because like working with elementary school kids for 3 years, I feel like that is going to be rough. They need to be able to sit down, and the teachers already have a hard enough time for that for grades like 4th and under. So that's probably a high school thing, which is a good time. I mean, honestly, like it's probably for the best to do high school students because they're going into college. I mean, not all of them, but and especially too because they'll probably just have general college questions too, you know. So I think that would be cool.
What I will say is when I was the president of what used to be the Student Society of Geography here at Western before we dissolved due to lack of membership, we used to do something called geo-mentoring, which is basically we went into high school classrooms and we would talk about opportunities in geography and GIS and stuff. And so obviously one of the things that I would talk about would be meteorology there. And a lot of high schoolers were actually genuinely interested in that stuff. So we could also get into high schools if that's something you guys would be interested in.
Yeah, I feel like that would probably be the best route because I feel like it's just a great time to be talking to them too because they're going to be in this environment usually, not all the time, but people's pathing out here is pretty linear. So they're probably going to be in a college environment soon. So I think it would benefit them the most to have that sort of interaction. And kind of know somebody. If we do it in this area, they're probably going to Western. So I feel like it'd be nice for them to kind of know some of us too and feel like they're not like, you know, super alone. So.
Yeah, I think if we were to do that, we technically couldn't recommend or talk about Western as an institution, but yeah.
But I just figure if they're around here, they may be going to Western.
Right.
I know that we have pretty strong ties to Lincoln Land as well. I know me and Brandon and there's a few other people lately have actually graduated from Lincoln Land. And the head of the geography department there, we're still probably both in contact with him. And he said that he would still like us to come visit and come talk about meteorology because they have meteorology kids rolling through there all the time. Me and Brandon aren't the only ones. There's been 3, 4, 5, way more than that. Some come here, some go to U of I, some go other places. But yeah, that's something else we can maybe think about because he would love to have us talk about whether he was going to go into weather himself until something happened and he switched out of it. But yeah, that's another idea too.
Yeah, no, these are all great ideas.
No, that's Lincoln Land Community College.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's definitely a great idea too. So what I'm hearing is that there's a lot of potential for outreach opportunities, which I like. I definitely want to get the club into a couple of those. We don't have to do all of them, obviously, but at least a few over the course of the semester. But I think that's all I wanted to cover today. I think we made some good progress on that. I think next week's meeting will probably again be kind of short. We'll talk about t-shirts among other things. Does anyone have any questions or comments?
Does anybody have any comments or suggestions or anything for the outreach stuff? Because I know we kind of like dominated the conversation, but like Jen, like any of y'all, Kathy, Chris, have anything, or like, are you in favor of kind of what we were talking about?
We could also discuss it like on the Discord as well. We could put out a poll. Like anytime we have an outreach idea, we could like do a vote on it. And if enough people were interested in it, we could like say, okay, we're going to book it for them then. I think that'll work out just fine. In the past, that was kind of an issue because, you know, we would, you know, give a call out during club meetings and people were like, oh, I don't know. And then we would fall through. But since we have the Discord, I think we can have more of a concrete discussion about that. So I think that'll work out.
I'd just like to say, whatever we do with outreach, I will. The reason I stayed so quiet is because, like, I'm willing to help plan it. I'm willing to figure out the logistics, but oh my God, please do not make me do anything with kids. I am not good with kids. I think I've made more children in my life cry than smile. So, like, I'm just word of warning. Me in the same room.
Honestly, I think you'll do great with first graders. They're a riot.
I think you'll do great no matter what we do, Andy.
Then you clearly don't know me.
But I know first graders. I think you'll be okay.
Oh God.
But yeah, if there are no other questions, comments, or concerns, then I think I will call it there. Thank you everyone for attending the first meeting. Hope to see you guys next week. And then the week after, we can do some in-person things finally. But yeah, thanks for coming by. I'll officially end it here.